So hi guys, this is Ratsudan and welcome to a new video. And today we're going to look at Firebase. So this is a beginner friendly Firebase video. I'm going to show you how to create your app, how to start with your first project, how to connect your Firebase to your app, and overall this is a good start for you if you have no idea, have no clue on Firebase. Okay, so first of all, I want to show you what we're going to do. So if you see right here, I have a simple email template and email form. So we're going to connect this to Firebase. We're not going to implement any backend like PHP or even Node.js and MongoDB. We're not going to do anything. It's just, you're going to just simply connect this to Firebase. Okay, so if you don't know Firebase, what Firebase is a cloud store database platform created by Google. So it's actually a hybrid version of SQL and NoSQL if you've used SQL databases in the past. So it's actually like a middle spot, okay, which has collections, which has docs. You can refer the collections as sort of like tables and stuff. Okay, so don't worry if you don't know these words like collection or something. I'll show you the basic way to create your applications and start connecting your app. So by the end of the video, you'll know how to create your app fast as possible and correct obviously to able to connect your apps to Firebase. Okay, so by the end of the video, you'll know how to push your data into Firebase and all of those stuff. Alright, so I want to get started right now. I have the code in the description if you want to get started. This is a dummy code which you just submit to the HTML page, has nothing over here. So before even I jump into Firebase and do all the stuff, I want to first of all do a couple of stuff to this form. Okay, let me expand it and put it right here. So if you see right now, when I click on submit, it's actually submitting for the page, which I just don't want. What I want is that I want to be able to block the submit. I don't want to submit to the page. Once I click on the submit button, I want to get whatever information here and post it up to our database of Firebase. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. All right, so yeah, let's get started. So first of all, I have the index.html in the description, just a simple h1 a p tag, and we have a form, and we have an input, we have a label, and we have an input, again an email and label for messages, and we have a text area, and we have a submit button. Okay, and in the CSS, it's it's 98 lines, less than 100 lines of code. Okay, I'll leave all GitHub repos so you can copy that. Alright, so the first thing that we want to do, we want to listen for a submit and block the submit, right? So make sure you have connected your app.js here, and let's first of all listen for submit. Okay, so basically I'm just going to comment it out to make sure you can understand more. So let's get document dot query selector, and I have given a class to the form called contact form. Okay, and I want to add an event listener. If I hear submit, when the form actually submits, I'm going to create a function called submit form. Okay, so whenever I fire this function, it's gonna fire, whenever I click on submit, it's gonna fire a function called submit form. Okay, so let's we haven't created the form, so let's go function, let's say submit, let's say submit form. Okay, so now what I want to do, the form is actually submitting, I want to prevent that, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say I want to pass a event parameter, and I want to say dot prevent default. Alright, so that's what I want. And now let's actually check it out and see. It's console.log123 and see whether it's working. Alright, so I'm going to press F12 to open my console. I'll expand this a bit. Let's click on here and go to the console, and once I click here, there we go, it's console.logging123. So basically I'm blocking the submit, and I'm getting whatever data. So that's the basic logic behind it. Okay, alright, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna just grab all the DOM elements. Okay, which I mean, I want to get all the values here. So let's say get input values. Okay, so let's say let name, first of all let's get the name. I want to say document dot query selector query selector, and this has a class of name. Okay, so let's say name, and if you want to get the value inside that, you have to just specify value, or it's just gonna render out the whole HTML. I'm gonna copy that, paste it, and here I'm gonna change this class to email, and I'm gonna get this one to email also. Let's change this to message, okay, and then let's change this to message as well. Okay, that's it, that's what we want. And let's log this out and see whether this is working. So let's say let's get the name, email, and the message. Okay, so we can put whatever dummy values. Let's just put Raj, and if you see Raj at main.com, whatever, and the message, this is text. It doesn't matter, right? So now if I click on submit, I'm gonna get all these values. If you see, my name is Raj, and there we go. The email I get is the Raj at mail.com, and we get this is test. Simple as that. All right, so it's working. So the next thing we want to do, we want to basically create a function called save contact info. Okay, so that's going to be a function. We haven't created it. So okay, so it's contact info, my bad. So what we want to do, we want to run a function once we click on the submit form. Yes, we can have all the values. We don't need a separate function to do this. We can have it in this code itself, but to make everything simple and cleaner, we're going to just simply create a function called save contact info. Okay, and then that function will take a name, it will take the email, and it will take the message. Okay, that's what it needs and that's what it takes. Okay, so as far as the form, we have done everything, and now let's jump into the Firebase and let's see what we can change and what we can add in order to connect this form. All right, so let's get started with the Firebase. So alright guys, so let's go to Firebase here, right here. Okay, so you have to have a Google account to get started. Okay, so make sure you have a Google account, and then you can come to firebase.google.com, and you can, right here I'm logged in, so you can just click on go to console. Okay, so it's gonna take a while, and once it's loaded, see I have a couple of projects made. I made Instagram clone and stuff like that. What you have to do, most of the time if you're doing it from scratch, it should be empty, and you have to just click on add project, and you can name whatever project you want. Let's just call it test form. Okay, and we can just click on continue. And then this is the part that you want to take a look. Now if you enable Google Analytics, you have to do two-step verification, and you have to connect your credit card, and Google will give you $300 to use Google Analytics. Okay, so if you check this up and continue, this wouldn't load because you have to do a couple of stuff. In this case, we don't need any Google Analytics, just for a form, so you can just uncheck that and click on create project. So this will take a while. It will take 30 seconds or so. It will just sort of create all the needed files, the database and all the stuff, so we can easily get started. So let's wait until it finishes off. All right, so yeah, let's wait. And by the way, I have all the code as I told in the description. The index.html, the style.css, all of it. Okay, so you can straight up get started. All right, the project is done, and I'm gonna click on continue. Okay, now it's gonna take you to a different page like this. Okay, so it's gonna give you this, like the dashboard where you can see everything. And now if you see in the front, you have to specify what kind of app it's gonna be. So in this case, we're gonna create a web app using JavaScript, and a web app also means you are using Node.js, so basically JavaScript. So we're gonna just create with web. But if you're connecting with Android or iOS development or even Unity, you have to click one of them. Okay, so all the config files and all of that really depends on how you're gonna do it. Which app you're going to start with. Okay, so we're going to just click on web, and it's going to take you, and you have to register a app. So let's say we can create the same thing. Let's say test form. Okay, and you can check this if you want to host your Firebase hosting, but if you're done with that, even later you can host it. Pretty simple, just one command and it would sort of host it. Alright guys, so that's it. Now you are free to grab all of your keys. So your JavaScript, the connecting key is there. The link is there, and then you have the script, which is your config to initialize your Firebase app and stuff like that. Okay, so you also can grab it from the settings, but let's just grab it from here. So first of all, I'm going to copy the script tag from here. So let's copy this and go to the index.html and make sure you paste it above app.js. Okay, the order really matters. Okay, And once you're done with that, we have to copy this script tag, whatever is inside the script tag. Okay, let's copy this and let's go to the app.js and let's paste this above everything else. Okay, so what this basically does is creating a Firebase config file which has all of our key, our domain, project ID, the app ID, so we can have access to it. And then we're initializing a Firebase app with passing all the information on Firebase config. So that's it. All right, so that's the basic connection you need to get started, and you can just click on go to console. All right, so now we are in console. If you see, we have one app here. So now what you want to do, guys, we want to go to database, and let me just quickly show you how you can get started. So once you just click on database itself, you're gonna get two stuff. One is the cloud Firestore, and one is the real-time database. So basically I could explain what both is. Both are, you know, a storage platform like database to store. But if you're using Firebase Firestore, obviously you can Firebase, the cloud Firestore is actually for more powerful stuff. For example, if you're using creating an Instagram clone where you have a lot of images, we have a lot of videos, and you know, where data has to be put in a way that, you know, there's so much stuff into it. So for example, Instagram clone is a very good idea where you can go with cloud Firestore. But when it comes to like a simple form, actually you don't need to use Firestore. You can use real-time database. Okay, so as you guys can see, suppose real-time synchronization, which is the cool feature of Firebase. So yeah, that's the information. So that's more powerful. You can use it sort of so images and stuff like that. This is just for text and you know, links, and just a simple real-time database for a form. So that's what we need. Okay, so once you click on this, it's gonna ask you, do you want to go in lock mode or test mode? And if you click on test mode, read and write will be through. Okay, so if you want to read and write, this time we're only going to write. We're not going to read anything. We're going to just write it up to the database. But we can just go with the locked version where no one will be given access. Even our app wouldn't be given access. But I'll show you in a minute how to change it. Okay, so don't worry. So now if you see, we are in this form. So we didn't push anything, nothing like that. So we just have a test form which has nothing. So the first thing that we have to do, guys, we have to reference a collection. So collection is like tables where you work with databases like SQL or something. Database is like a table. Sorry, a collection is like a table. So first of all, let's say we have to reference, okay, reference contact info collections. Okay, so collection is basically, as I told, tables which consist multiple data information. So we're gonna first of all we wanna basically create that reference. Okay, so let's say let's say contact, let's say not contact info. Okay, and that is actually equals to this is how you create a database, right? So let contact info is equals to Firebase dot database. Okay, not database URLs, Firebase.database. Okay, that's what you need to do. Okay, and then it's created your database, and now what you want to do, you want to reference to a collection. Okay, so you say ref, and now you want to reference a collection. So now we want to just put a collection called let's say infos. Okay, so basically we have nothing created, but this will just get created on the fly, meaning when I run this application, if something if this doesn't exist, it's gonna basically, as you're saying a command, we're gonna reference this infos, it's gonna create that collection or other tables, and then handle and push all the information. Okay, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. All right, so now we have connected, we have referenced a database here, and now what we want to do, we want to simply run this function, save contact info, where we pass all the name, email, and the message. Okay, so let's run this function here. Okay, so let's say save infos. So let's say infos to Firebase. Okay, it's gonna save all the information to Firebase. So let's first of all say a function, and let's say save info contact info, and as we are passing name, email, message, we can grab this here. So you can say name, email, message. So we have grabbed it, And now what I want to do, I want to create a new reference to it so that I can easily push this. Okay, if you see, we have created something like, so I'm just gonna no, I didn't have to copy that. So let's first of all create a new reference. So let's say let new contact info. Okay, so we'll call it like that, contact info. So it's actually the new version of this contact info. So let new contact info. And now what we want to do, we want to get this contact info. Okay, so let this, whatever is contact info, and then what I want to do, I want to just push this up. Okay, basically what this means is that we're basically creating a new variable which is going to connect to this reference called the collection, and then it's going to push some data. So what data is that it's going to push? So let's create, I'll show you what data we're going to push. So first of all, let's say new messages, new contact info, which we are the variable we have created, and then you want to say dot set. Okay, so this is the part where we're going to push it to the Firebase database. So if you just put a value, you can put whatever you want. Okay, if you want to put text or whatever, but in this case we're going to push an object, right? Objects with name, email, message. So now let's put that. So let's we have an object where name is equals to the name, and the email is equals to the email, and the messages, oops, let's get message is, oops, it should be message, and I have an error here. Okay, and message is equals to the message. And if you're wondering, oh my god, why name is equals to name, email is equals to email, message is equals to message, it just means that you can define this anything. You can also call this a username. Okay, you can call it, if you want username here, you can call it the user email, user message. But what matters is this one, what you're mapping this to in the object. So this name comes from here. We grab all the input values, we pass it to the function, we create the function, and we grab whatever is passed to this function. We create a new collection and we push it to this one. So we're going to basically get this and push it to the new variable, which we are setting an object which has all the name and email and the message. Simple as that. So you can call it username, whatever. I'm just going to leave it name because it doesn't matter, it would work fine. Alright, so as far as the code goes, that's it. Now let's take a look whether we have connected the form. Alright, so now let's try submitting. Okay, so I'm going to open my console, and once right after the bat, if you open the console, it's going to give you an error called Firebase database is not a function. So unless you get rid of this error, your Firebase wouldn't work, meaning that your whole application wouldn't submit. So the easiest way and the most used way to get rid of the error when you're using JavaScript is that you should have copied, now we are in the index.html, you should have copied this link and pasted it above your script, right? So simply you want to get rid of this dash app. Okay, I hope you can see this. So I'm just going to highlight it. So if you see, we want to just get rid of this dash app. Okay, so let's just get rid of that, the dash and the app. And now if you see, there we go, it looks like you're using development of Firebase. There we go, so it's connected and it's working, and it should work. And now let's try submitting. So let's say name, let me give Raj, and the email, let's go raj@test.com, and message, let's say test whatever, test message. And now once I click it submit, now you can see, now just don't worry about that, we just console logging, it's not working. And now if you see, we are thrown up with a bunch of errors. So the first one is saying permission is denied. So basically if you see, so permission is denied, you cannot write anything to your Firebase. So basically we see, when we created the Firebase itself, we were asked to create in a test mode or a production mode. Production mode is actually everything, you cannot push or write anything to the database. So we created in the production mode, but you can change your rules in that. Okay, so you have to come, you should have been in the data, you want to come to the rules, and if you see the rules, read is set to false, write is set to false. Okay, so in this case we're not going to read anything and put it to our app. We're just going to write it. We're going to, the user should be able to write to this database, right? So it makes sense. So basically you want to just set this to true, simple as that, and click on publish. And now if you see publish, rules are published and the write is equals to true. So now let's come back, refresh this, And now let's try submitting, and let's go to the Firebase console. You see we don't have anything right now. Okay, just simple test form, our collection. And now let's go name, which is equals to Raj. Email, let's say Raj at testemail.com. Okay, and now let's say message test email. Okay, and let's click on submit. And if you go, we haven't seen any error in the console, nothing is done. So let's come back here and see that we have created a new collection here called infos. And if I expand this, you can see a ID here. So this is the auto generated ID by Firebase. So if you it really comes handy if you have unique IDs when you want to remove stuff and stuff, but we're not going to go into that. But if you expand this, now you can see we have the email, we have the message, and we have the name. All right, so this is really cool, super easy. You don't need any backend, and this is such a powerful database to work with. Okay, so you basically Raj at testemail.com, Raj test email and name. Okay, simple as that. Okay, so yeah, that's like the basics of it. And now what we could do is that let's try submitting some more data. So let's say name is equals to Sanjay. Let's say email is sanjay at mail.com, and the message is equals to, this is a test message. And the cool feature is this is a real-time database, guys. So I'll show you the feature of it. Let me just minimize that, and I'm gonna put it, I can still submit. So I'll get this and I'll put this side so you can see my Firebase. We have nothing here, so I can still submit. So now I'll try clicking on submit here. So let me just expand this a bit. Okay, so I'm just gonna click on submit, and once I click on submit, there we go. We don't even need to refresh that. Automatically it's gonna work with this form, and it's gonna grab all the data, message, and the name. That's really a cool feature of Firebase. So real-time database really gives you access for a lot of stuff, and really makes the process really easier. So yeah, all right, so it's working, and that's fine. And the last thing that we want to do, we basically want to get rid of all the information once we click on submit. All right, so let's do that at last right now. All right, so let's get this form here. So let's say document dot query selector, and let's say dot contact form. And once anyone submits that, we want to just simply we want to simply get all the information, push it to our Firebase database. So do I have that? Okay, so push it to the Firebase database, and once that's done, we are simply going to get rid of that. So let's do this, try submitting again. So let me get my Firebase console. So let's this time say John, let's say John at mail.com. Let's message John test. Okay, doesn't matter. And now once I click on submit, it's gonna get rid of any values inside that. So it's basically gonna reset that. And then if you want to click on here, you can see we have John at mail.com, John test and name. Okay, that's super easy, guys. And we want to add this to your website and stuff. This is really handy. And if you don't have no clue about SQL and stuff, it's really cool. And you can build super powerful applications like Instagram clone, where Instagram clones, Spotify clones, Facebook clone with Firebase, and you can use React and Firebase to do it. But if you want to see some kind of tutorial, me working with React, Firebase, and creating a whole app like a to-do list, maybe definitely comment down below. I'll be sure to answer those, and maybe even make a video on that. Okay, so check out some other content that I have. Watch this video and share this video with your friends, and comment what you have learned with the video. And if you want to see more videos, what kind of videos you want, let me know in the comments. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.